Let's go ahead and get started. It's Coffee and Chat with Rev Bruce. Great to be back. We're jumping on a little something different today that's in line with what we do during the week. I'm talking about fixing your finances, fixing your finances. And one of the things that we look at when we talk about fixing your finances is budgeting and debt. Budgeting and debt. And debt, you've heard me say it before, debt is a dream killer. Working your way out of debt can not be the most exciting part of your day, but you can definitely make progress over time. Time is an asset more than the amount that you have. Even if you get a windfall, having the tools and the time are the things that are going to make a difference. And so, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that can help with paying off debt, but you need the time and the tools in order to make progress, paying off debt. And so that can be a long-term thing, that can be a short-term thing. What's small for you may be a mountain for someone else. What's a major thing for you may be minor for someone else. I don't know. But what we need to do is be mindful that when we start talking about debt as part of how someone is living per day, that's money going towards something that you've already experienced or have, right? And so when I pay off this car, that'll be one less chain shackled to me. When I pay off this other loan, that'll be one less chain shackled to me. You understand what I mean? And so debt is a dream killer, but debt is a form of bondage. And so as we talk about this, look at financial fixes that can help you manage your money and deal with your situation that fit you, right? How you operate, how you move. Everything doesn't work for everybody. And you can't try to squeeze into everybody's fix that doesn't fit you. It doesn't work. And so you're struggling to do it. Don't sweat it. I've got some ideas for you, some things for you to look at. First thing I'd say look at is, we've talked about it before. We did our challenge, and some of y'all jumped on it. I appreciate it. It's not something that we get a referral bonus or anything from. It's just another layer of community when we share stuff that works. Check out Credit Karma, right? You want to fix it? Check out Credit Karma. That's one of the things, one of the places I would say to go. Manage your credit. Look at how they review financial products, everything from insurance, right, to savings and checking accounts, even business accounts. Check them out. Great information, strategies, even tools, savings vehicles are available through Credit Karma. They have a savings piece. Nerd Wallet. Sounds weird, but it works. Nerd Wallet. What they do, pretty much like Credit Karma, looking at savvy ways to save and trim costs, increase income, reduce debt, create that balance of financial freedom. When we talk about financial freedom, we're not talking about just just having more money, right? We're talking about being in a place to where you can wake up and say, you know what, I'm not feeling work today. And that not be a hindrance to you of being like, oh man, if I don't go, you know how that is. If I don't go to work, it's gonna kill me. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not ready to go to work. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not in you, right? And so beyond those two, here's one that some people may not understand just yet. Bigger pockets. Bigger pockets is not so much on the debt freedom side, but on the financial freedom side, which includes reducing debt as an element of seeking financial freedom. And so, bigger pockets, I say, is a asset for people with aspirations for financial freedom. Look at the quote from Gandhi that I'm keeping on the screen right now. Look at the quote from Gandhi, and you'll get what I'm saying. Live as if you were to die tomorrow, and learn as if you were to live forever. Acquire more and more knowledge, and experiences so that you can, continue in your living to make a difference, right? I'm about to go turbo on paying on uh, this auto debt and some other stuff, and okay, y'all. Sorry about that. Storms and internet connection killing me. Back to it. Credit card debt. Credit card debt is primarily a problem because of the high interest of credit card debt. And that's the same thing with certain loans. And so when we talk about these strategies to get out of debt, some of the problem is we're looking at issues that are not all related the same, right? I don't know why I was talking about live at lunch. But boom, we're talking about how we manage money and how money is handled in a systematic way. And I say systematic because when it's not systematic, it becomes chaotic or erratic, right? And so when you don't have a money flow, when you don't have a constant, steady flow of income, and that becomes erratic itself, then the way you manage your money can become erratic if you don't have a system for that income to fall into. I hope you're following me with that. It'll make sense. And so, boom, what we're talking about is finances and faith, right? And here goes part of the issue. I want you to understand that when we talk about this from a biblical perspective, money is just an object. Money is just, an inanimate object. It's not, money itself is not spiritual, but how we handle money does have some spiritual aspects to it. Look at this, and talk back to me if you can. It is the blessing of the Lord that makes rich, right? And he, talking about the Lord, adds no sorrow to it. Proverbs 10:22. This is the blessing of the Lord. He makes one rich. He adds no sorrow to it. And so when we get this thing together about what God is doing, if we're stressing and having major problems with money, that's not necessarily the Lord's fault. If the blessing is making us rich and he adds no sorrow with it, we're putting weight on it. We're adding other expectations to it. We're putting other ideas behind it, other notions and considerations behind it that have nothing to do with taking care of just the necessities. We've added and piled up on top of that to where we have enough for our basic needs, but we don't have enough to get us out of the hole that we've been digging beside that. And that's part of the issue that we face when we talk about money from a biblical perspective. If that makes sense, come on, say amen or something. But that's from the text. The blessing of the Lord makes one rich. It's not necessarily something overnight or a lottery ticket and the windfall. And when we receive something, we have to be careful to have a plan for it, to have a structure for it, a system for it, like we were saying earlier. Otherwise, it'll get lost in the mix because we haven't changed anything about how we handle money. We've just added a little bit of extra to it. Come on now. That makes sense to somebody somewhere out there. And so think about it. A lot of times we're not getting anywhere, right? Because we don't have that system. Look at this, that system. And so that system goes back to right here, creating a month by month budget. And so things change, things impact how you receive your money, but that budget should be consistent to let you know whether you're on or off with your money, right? Here's something else that should fit you. Set a monthly debt payoff amount. Are you gonna put, $50 per, credit card this month, and you're gonna pay an extra 25 on the small one? What's the amount that you're setting month by month that you're gonna pay off with the credit cards, right? Think of barriers that you have to paying on time. Are things happening with your vehicle that you need to get straight? Are you experiencing other stresses and issues that you need to step back and say, okay, let me write this down and get this open. Let me pull out my budget and see where I stand and where can I make some adjustments, and let me look at my calendar and see where am I missing a step or two. What are those barriers, right? And find a way to reduce those barriers and eliminate them entirely if you can, but at least work on some ways to reduce those barriers to where you can start to continue to make progress and set up payment reminders, right? Put those on your phone. Set that as a calendar event. Make a date of it. Hey, on this day, paying that off. On this day, paying them. Whatever may be the case, but put that on your phone, your mobile device, your Google Calendar, your Google Alerts. Build up your savings slow and steady. Right now, you may only have 5, 10 you can set aside. Put that away in the holiday savings. If you can, with credit union, put that away in just a regular savings account. Peel it off of your check. This time you put 5 aside. Next time you put 10. This time you put 10 aside. Next time you put 20. Can you double it up and keep going? See what's happening, right? And new financial tools. Test them out 30 to 60 days. That's a good run on most things. 30 to 60 days, you can figure out if it feels okay, if it fits. One of the things you want to do is make sure that if it's not working, figure out why it's not working. If it doesn't fit, why doesn't it fit? Sometimes it just doesn't feel like you. But guess what? Neither does most medication. Doesn't feel like you. Doesn't feel like you want it to feel. Doesn't make you feel comfortable, but it may be what you need. It may be what you need to go through in order to get to another place. And every budget isn't the same. Every budget isn't the same. Create your own categories. Maybe you need to rename them. Maybe it's not savings. Maybe it's fund, whatever it may be. But oftentimes you'll find yourself in a place where your goal is to do one thing, but you're not seeing that happen. And here's something I'll share with you from the faith side of finances that should be able to put it in context, right? Let's put this in context and see where it goes for us. It says, hey, now consider, therefore, thus the Lord of hosts. That's what the Lord of hosts is saying. Consider your ways. You have sown much and harvested little. You eat, but you never have enough. You drink, but you never have your fill. You clothe yourself, but no one is warm. And he who earns wages does so to put them into a bag with holes. Thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. It's Haggai chapter 1, verses 5 through 7 from the ESV. You ever feel like you're just putting your money away and it's going into a hole, it's going into a black hole, it's going nowhere, it's getting nowhere? Sometimes that's because we're off track with where we're supposed to be, with what we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to be doing it. And we need to look at that. We need to be careful because sometimes we're doing all the right things except for those one or two things that the Lord has set aside for us. And we would probably be so much more blessed if we did those things the Lord's way, but we're too busy doing our thing our way. And that's the problem. And so we have the things that we need. They just don't seem to satisfy us because we're in conflict with what we say we believe. We're in conflict with what we say we espouse. And so think about that. If we want to live free, then let's live free and free ourselves of these attachments that are unhealthy for us financially, unhealthy for us mentally because we're stressing out too much, unhealthy for us in so many other ways because they have impact that seeps into other parts of our lives. That's part of what we need to consider when we look at this from a faith and financial perspective. Live like you're going to die tomorrow. Learn as if you're to live forever. Get the knowledge, discover what works for you and what fits you, and jump into making that happen, making changes that will be lasting and impactful for you throughout your financial journey. It's going to take a little bit of time, but with the right time and the right tools, you'll be there. You'll be making progress. You'll be on your way, and you won't have any problem looking back and saying, man, I got it done, but man, it took some work on my part. Thanks a lot. Good coffee and chat with Red Bruce. God bless.